Hello, I'm Sheryl McCarthy. Welcome to One to One. We all know that dogs are smart. They can guide a blind person through a boisterous crowd, tell us when they're ready for a walk, and a recent New York Times article told us about Whiskey, a border collie in Norway who knows the names of every one of her almost 100 toys. But just how smart are our canine friends? How do their brains work when confronted with tasks like navigating their surroundings, distinguishing between colors, and trying to solve unsolvable problems? These are the kinds of questions researchers are trying to answer at the Thinking Dog Center at Hunter College, part of the college's Animal Behavior and Conservation program. Their mission? To understand how dogs think, and by extension, just how much they are capable of. Here to explain their research is Sarah-Elizabeth Byosiere, director of the Thinking Dog Center. In the second half, we'll be joined by Cece, a 4-year-old Havanese and one of the center's subjects, and Laura Kaufmann, Cece's owner. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, tell me what is the Thinking Dog Center and how it came about?
The Thinking Dog Center is a place where we are trying to investigate all of the things that our furry friends at home know, particularly domestic dogs, the pet dogs that we have. And what we're trying to do is evaluate how do they navigate their environment, how do they understand us, how do they problem solve, what do they see, and how do they use that to figure out how to manipulate us possibly. And so we are set up in a way to do this empirically. So we come up with various experiments to look at dog cognition and dog behavior, and we run these experiments at the center. Our experiments are really problem solving and just getting treats from us.
Where are you located?
We're actually located close to Times Square. We're located at 450 West 41st Street, which is between 9th and 10th.
I remember reading about Pavlov's salivating dogs in psychology class, about how dogs could be conditioned to do things that they don't necessarily come naturally to them. But somehow I didn't expect this kind of center for research on dogs to be located in Manhattan, maybe at Cornell, but you know.
Yeah, there's more and more research recently, and a lot of these centers that are popping up all over the U.S., but also internationally. And the ultimate goal is sort of to figure out how to improve the life of the dog and also the human that they're living with. So essentially, if we are going to live in such close proximity, have them be a part of our family, we call them fur babies. They often take over this sort of childlike role for many humans. How can we understand them better, and how can we improve their lives? And so instead of taking a more neuroscience approach, we really do this by looking at their behavior. What are they doing when they interact with us?
You're part of Hunter's Animal Behavior and Conservation program, which is part of the psychology department.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
So the people who work with your dogs are psychology students.
Yes, so we have a whole range of students that work with us. We have Hunter College undergraduates who are generally focusing on animal behavior in our concentration. Then we also have master's students in the Animal Behavior and Conservation Master's Program, and these students can range from students who are dog trainers who are interested in just getting a feel for what research is like, or these can be students that are interested in continuing on in academia and really have a psychology or a zoology background.
There are lots and lots of dogs in New York. It's a
are.
dog town. Is there something special about New York dogs?
I like to think so. We don't have data yet to describe what makes a New York City dog so special. In my mind, just anecdotally and from what I've observed from the dogs that have come to the center space, the New York City dogs have to be very good at navigating this crazy, hectic world. It's sometimes very overwhelming, even for a person, to walk around New York City. You're constantly in traffic. There are noises everywhere. And if you think about this maybe from a dog's perspective, they're a couple feet off the ground. They're surrounded by everybody's legs. There are probably a lot of good smells and very bad smells all around you. And this must be quite overwhelming, especially if this is not something that you're used to.
So they're sort of tough and resilient.
Yeah, really resilient, boisterous, robust dogs. They have to face a lot of obstacles in their daily life and be okay with it and go with the flow. And so you might see that the personalities of these dogs they're very happy-go-lucky, and they love to be with their people, and that might make them a really great, fantastic New York City pup.
what are some of the studies that you have done so far, that you've completed so far?
Yeah, so we've been working on a couple of different projects, some of them about how dogs navigate around barriers. So for example, we might have a sort of fence where the dogs can see that there is a snack or a toy on the other side of the fence, and they're usually quite close to that snack or the toy. And in order to get around the fence, they have to navigate all the way around and sort of remove themselves and inhibit that response of, I want to stay right here and eat this snack. And so what we've been doing is trying to see how are dogs navigating around that barrier. Can they do it? Do they do this really quickly? And ultimately our goal is to see how do New York City pet dogs stack up to other sort of populations of dogs elsewhere.
What have you found so far?
Yeah, we've actually found that it sort of depends on the dog. Some of the dogs are very easy to navigate around the barrier quite quickly. Some of them do this in such a fast fashion that they look at me like, what am I doing here? But then at the same time, some of them are a little bit more slow and they may not necessarily understand what we want. And so then they start looking to humans in the room, trying to figure out, hey, can you help me out? Can you let me know what exactly it is that you want me to do?
I gather you have done a study on persistence, how long dogs will persist when asked to solve an unsolvable problem. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so the unsolvable task is something that you see in the animal cognition literature. It's been investigated in a bunch of different animal species and actually has already been tested in dogs. And what we've been doing with this task, the idea is that you have a variety of conditions in which you have a sort of Tupperware-like container and you can approach it and there's food there. It's easy to just kind of knock over the lid. It's solvable. However, once dogs get really acquainted with this, we lock the lid in place, making the test unsolvable. And the idea is that if you have someone in the room who's available to make eye contact with, are you going to notice that that dog is really persisting at just getting at the container, trying to obtain whatever snack or food or toy is in there, or at some point will they give up and sort of look to a human for help? And what we're seeing with the pet dogs is they do approach the container when it's unsolvable, but after a while, they really do interact with the human. They jump up on laps, they sit and make puppy dog eyes, they lie down and nap. They're sort of waiting for some kind of guidance or some help from the people that are there.
Now with a dog like Whiskey, the dog is responding to verbal commands, you know, go get me your stuffed teddy bear, whatever. What are the skills that the dog is using to do that?
So Whiskey is unique in a couple of ways, but also she's similar to another dog that was famous a couple years back, Chaser the Border Collie, who passed away, I think, last year. And Chaser was a really great example because Chaser actually knew 1,000 different toys. What makes Whiskey unique is that when you ask her to find new toys that she's never seen before, and you tell her, find this rope toy, for example, out of a variety of different objects, she can pick out generally what is the new rope toy she's gotten. And this suggests that she has somehow formed categories or concepts of how to organize her life around her. And so while she might be able to recognize a new ball toy, she can go and find it and tell you what it is. And the cool thing about Whiskey in particular is that that's not trained. That's something that she's just doing sporadically, which is interesting. We don't know if this is unique to her or something that can generalize to dogs everywhere.
So what do we know already about how dogs learn and about their memory and about their feelings?
There's been some studies that have looked at episodic-like memory, meaning that the dogs can recall episodes from their daily lives. And it suggests that they can do this. If you train a dog to do something and you ask them to recall it later, they can do this. We don't know the extent to how long this lasts, essentially. So is this something that if you asked a dog to learn a certain command or a certain trick or a certain toy, would that last 1 day, 1 week, one year? We don't have a definite answer, and it also probably depends on the dog, their age, what their experience has been with training in the past. So we're learning more and more about this every day. But how do they feel, I think, is also a very interesting topic, and it's something that we're getting into more and more. We always like to say, you know, your dog loves you, or I like to come home and think that my companion animals are super fond of hanging out with me. At least they're the only ones that come and say hello to me generally when I walk through the door at 5 p.m. So does that mean that they're happy to see me? Well, they're there waiting for me, and I'd like to think that they're happy to see me. Could it be something that they're just accustomed to doing? Yes. But there is some research that suggests that when humans pet dogs, we have oxytocin increases, and we have this kind of love hormone or this cuddle hormone that comes up. And it's very similar to what human mothers have when they interact with their offspring. And the interesting thing that we're finding out now is that dogs are also demonstrating these oxytocin spikes when they interact with humans, which might suggest that we can't really say, is it love that they're feeling? But
or if it's a chemical kind of thing.
Yeah, or if it's just a chemical kind of thing. But it is something that they seem to enjoy. They wouldn't come back otherwise for more. My dog would stay on the couch.
I assume the dogs can get bored. Do they feel sad?
That's a good question. I personally would like to say that it's important for you to do things with your dog. No dog probably wants to sit at home for hours and all day waiting for you. They want something to do. They want to interact with humans. If they're so good at manipulating us and being around us and understanding what we want, the feeling of sadness may not necessarily be reflected, but they might feel something about it. They may not feel great.
And I assume the dogs who are abused can be depressed.
Yeah, I actually have no idea if there's any research that's been done on that. But one of the fantastic things that we've been discovering recently is with shelter animals that come from traumatic situations. For example, in hoarding cases, when animals come to the shelter and need to find homes, originally it was assumed that you really couldn't do anything with those dogs, that those dogs were just ruined. And recently, in the last 20 or so years, we've been discovering that these dogs are actually adoptable. They form attachments and bonds with new people later on in life. It doesn't matter if you weren't there when they were a puppy. They will still form and create attachments to their new owners, which is great because that means that certain dogs from certain situations can be rehomed, they can find great homes, and they can have really happy lives after experiencing such traumatic events.
Okay, we're going to take a short break. Then we'll be back with Sarah-Elizabeth Byosiere, Director of the Thinking Dog Center at Hunter College, and also Cece, a 4-year-old Havanese with her owner, Laura Kaufmann. Welcome back to One to One. I'm Sheryl McCarthy, and I'm talking with Sarah-Elizabeth Byosiere, Director of the Thinking Dog Center at Hunter College. And we also have Cece, who is a participant in one of the center's studies with her owner, Laura Kaufmann. So Laura, how did you and Cece get involved with the Thinking Dog Center?
So we actually read an article that was it the New York Post? The Daily News.
Yeah.
The Daily News put out about the center, and we thought it sounded amazing. Cece is already a therapy dog, so we know she loves to work, and so we reached out to become part of the center, and she's done 2 studies now and just loves it.
So how long has she been doing this? How long?
A couple of months. I think we started right after the summer, so I think around September.
Okay.
And she's done 2 studies between then and now.
Tell me about those studies that she's...
Yeah, Cece, she would have been involved in our, did Cece do our baloney study?
She didn't. She
did.
did.
Ooh, our puzzle box study.
She did the puzzle box.
She did our unsolvable study. So Cece was one of our lucky participants who got to participate in this task where we had a Tupperware container that for various conditions was solvable. They could approach and obtain a food source. And then once she got to criteria, she had the unsolvable condition. And Cece is actually a really great example. We have videos of her participating in her puzzle box study, and she's one of the dogs that jumps up onto the human's lap, the experimenter's lap, to ask for help.
To ask for help.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was very persistent, though. She did interact with the container. She sort of walked around it, was like, why is this no longer open? But then after a while, hopped up on the lap and then decided to lie down next to the human that was available for eye contact.
So Laura, do you watch Cece when she's going through the exercises?
So yes, do I? Do I? Cece is a bit of a clinger, so she really likes to be near her humans. So I do sit in the room to make sure that she can stay focused on the task, but I sit in the corner facing away to make sure that I don't distract from the important studies.
How does she feel about the center?
She loves it.
Does she?
Now that she's gone a couple of times, even just the second time we went, she's now started pulling me directly into the building. And then once we get to the building, first she greets the security guard, sniffs him for a minute, and then she pulls me all the way back to the room. She knows exactly where she's going. I think once she even pushed the door open.
What do you think she likes about?
Well, we know that Cece is very smart, and we know she really loves to use her brain. And so going to the center is such a great brain workout for her, and she really, really enjoys doing that thinking. Every one of the researchers we've ever met are the kindest, most animal-loving people, so she loves spending time with them and playing. And it's just such a warm, comfortable, animal-friendly space. Cece, as a reward, gets to play a little bit after she does all of her research work, and my goodness, she just goes crazy in there.
Are treats the motivating factor?
Oh, for sure.
Okay. Okay. Sarah, certainly we know that different breeds of dogs have different skills. You know, some are good hunting dogs, some are good pointers, some herd sheep. But I assume there are also behavioral differences between different breeds of dogs.
Sure, definitely. I mean, we have artificially selected and bred dogs for various purposes, so it makes sense that if you select for features that make a great hunting dog, that you're going to end up breeding a fantastic hunting dog versus something that might be, you know, more seen at home. But that's also not to say that you don't have a wide variation in differences within a breed itself. So often we do note that there are more differences within a breed than you even see across breeds. And that sort of makes sense. If you think about New York City dogs in particular, you have a whole range of dogs that all look very different, but generally they do very well here. And so then the question becomes, what features do they have that make them so well suited for this environment? That's not to say that, you know, a dog like Cece has this really great skill of being super human friendly and loving and attentive, whereas if you might have something like a duck-tolling retriever, that dog may not also benefit from going out to the middle of nowhere and helping with duck hunting.
Are there certain qualities of Havanese in general?
From what I know, they tend to be very smooshy. They tend to just love people, kind of roll over, be very flopsy. I think Cece is I've got some great photos of Cece upside down, flopping over, getting belly rubs. They're known for being great pets in the sense that they'll sleep for a lot of the day, almost like the cat-like version of a dog, but also having that I want to be with you behavior that you might want in a pet dog. It's a very good companion animal.
I've heard that poodles, for instance, are smart, but also a little vain, perhaps because of those poodle cuts that they get. I don't know.
It could be. Actually, poodles are extremely smart. You could do a lot with different types of poodles. But the same thing there. What's interesting is that we find that many of the dogs that come in to participate at the center, it's not the breed that makes them a great center dog or a good subject for our experiments. It's really that they're motivated either by human or by food or toy in some instances, and that they want to participate with us. If they don't want to be there and they want to lie on our couch with our experimenters for their session, that's totally fine. But we also don't get data for that. But then there might be another reason that makes them a really good pet dog. They may not be a great dog for getting data and learning about dogs, but they probably make a fantastic pet dog.
So what are some of the practical uses of your research?
We get to help improve the quality of life and the relationship that a dog has with their owner. They're providing data that helps us learn more about other dogs in their environment, but that relationship is really unique. And if that's the only thing that we ever discover, I'm sure it won't be. I'm sure we'll discover that New York dogs are amazing. But if that really is the only thing that we help with on a day-to-day basis, I think that's fantastic.
So if a dog owner wants to get his or her pet involved with your center, what's the process?
So the process is that they should start with finding us online. So we have a Facebook and we also have a website. And when they find us on the website, there's a little blurb that says enroll your dog at Hunter College, because we're about to give your dog a university degree. I think we call it a bachelor's degree. And they can sign up and they have a little form and they're supposed to tell us a little bit about their dog. Does your dog have dietary restriction? Does your dog have a fear of brooms? Does your dog enjoy contact with people? And the reason why we ask all these questions, the form takes a little while to fill out, is that we want to make sure that we find the ideal studies for a dog to participate in. And so if the dog is scared of brooms, we're not going to have a broom there. We don't want that. And so they sign up and then we send out a request later on. But essentially, we're only looking for dogs that are 4 months or older. They have to be friendly with humans. And that they have to have up-to-date vaccinations.
Okay. Did Cece have to audition for this?
She filled out her form, and very shortly thereafter, we got a call and participated in our first study. And I guess she did well because we keep getting asked back.
Okay. Are there dogs that you don't ask back, or dogs who just don't work out?
So most of our dogs actually do come back. We love having the dogs come back, and we're actually tracking how our dogs participate in all these different studies to also get a better idea of how, if a dog doesn't do well on one kind of design, does that mean that it's our study, or how can we improve it? How can we fix it? How do they do better on something else? So we do ask dogs to come back. If we ask a dog not to come back, or if we don't invite a dog back, it's usually because we haven't found the ideal study for them to come back and participate in. However, there are some dogs that are really not a fan of our space. We've had a couple dogs that have come in, and if you're a dog and you're on a slippery floor in a new space, you might think that you're at the vet's office, and this could possibly be scary. Mm-hmm. We generally then allow dogs another opportunity to come back and visit us to kind of ease the transition into the space, toss lots of treats around, but generally they do get used to it over time and start to learn that this is a really fun space. So we haven't really had to ask anyone not to come back.
Laura, I gather Cece would like to do some tricks for us.
Oh, she
so
loves
why don't
to
you
perform.
show us what you can do?
Come on, Cece. So she has 3 tricks. Cece, first one, she'll give me a shake. Good job. She likes string beans as her treat. Yeah? How about a high five? Yeah, good job. And then she'll do an over. Ready? Down. Yeah, good job.
Wow.
And she'll give a high five to anybody. So if you're on her level and you just put your hand there, she'll give you a high five. Yeah.
Laura, some people say tricks aren't good for dogs. Some people say they are. What do you think?
Well, I think as long as you're doing something fun and your dog is enjoying it, you might as well continue and do something fun and enriching with them. Why not? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it can also be extremely helpful in creating a space in which you feel comfortable interacting with your dog outside of the home. If you need your dog to do something later on at the vet's office or on the streets, if your dog knows a certain trick, you can get them then to behave in that certain way in situations in which you might need them to actually do something. And so this can not only be enriching for them at home to practice, but can also come in handy.
The center's only been in operation about a year and a half, about 18 months or so?
Yeah, we started in about August 2018, but we actually only brought in our first dog in June 2019, so about 8 months now.
Have you learned things that have surprised you?
Yeah, actually, I've been surprised at how resilient the dogs have been and how welcoming and forthcoming all the owners have been to our studies. Sometimes it seems like a lot of work to bring your dog to Times Square to fill out our forms, to come in, and not always do owners know what to expect. It's not like going to doggy daycare or going to the dog park. You're bringing your dog to a university to participate in dog cognition experiments. What does that mean? And so essentially what I've seen is how willing owners are to help us learn about canine science, which is fantastic.
What are your goals going forward?
Our goals are to look at what makes a New York City dog unique. Are there features that make a pet dog unique in this city and in this atmosphere? But in general, we're also interested in these individual differences, which I highlighted earlier. So what makes a dog good at one task? Does that mean that they're then really good at another task? Does that mean then that they're really good at doing a certain behavior at home? And if not, then maybe we'll also be interested in looking at breed differences. We have so many unique breeds here in New York City, Havanese, Poodles, Border Collies, that this is a great place to look at how different breeds vary.
I've heard there is is it a bow greeting that
Yeah.
dogs engage in? What's that about?
The play bow. So this is this high rump position where the forearms are down on the ground. Dogs do this in a variety of different contexts. I've been studying it in social play, particularly when two individuals are playing with one another. And it's sort of like I want to reinitiate my playful interaction with you. They may stop and take a break after this long romp and then decide, okay, I'm ready to go again, and play bow right then and there. However, it's actually really interesting. You can do a play bow at home with your own dog. They do respond to human-given play bows. So if you want to see what this looks like, go ahead and get on your knees, put your forearms on the ground, do a little side-to-side motion, and probably your dog will do it back to you.
So the dog is saying to the owner, I'm ready to play now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it seems like the signal is actually transferable to other species.
I'm afraid we're out of time. I want to thank Sarah-Elizabeth Byosiere, Director of the Thinking Dog Center at Hunter College, Cece, and Cece's owner, Laura Kaufmann, for joining me today. For the City University of New York and 1-to-1, I'm Sheryl McCarthy.